Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment is brought to you by Safety Systems, fire safety systems, home theater systems, state-of-the-art communication systems for your business. I mean, they conference rooms like you wouldn't believe, security systems, they do it all. SafetySystems.com is where you need to go to learn more. I tell you about it, but go see for yourself all the different things they can offer your home or your business. Call VFL JJ Surlis and his team this week. Okay, time to catch everybody up on some of the things that you might have missed this week. We got 5 little quote stats here, and I'm just going to let these guys react to them. Things that came out this week. Vince, I'm going to start with you with a quote from Josh Heupel. All right? He said this week, and this is about the new clock rules in football. He said everybody's still playing with the same amount of time on the clock. It's not changing for one side. How much time that is actually going to bleed from the game, I don't know. But a possession, maybe 2. Number of plays will be down for everybody across America. At the end of the day, you've still got to score more points than the other team does with the number of plays and possessions you've got. Reactions to either the comment or just the fact that Tennessee, an offense that wears people down, may not be able to wear them down as much anymore. Your thoughts, just your reaction, Vince.
Yeah, he definitely wants to not have those 2 possessions out because obviously that is an advantage for them. What's interesting is Kirby Smart had said, I don't think it's that big a deal. I think it's only going to take a couple of plays off of a game. It's not going to be that drastic. I think he thought it was a little bit overrated. So maybe that's him making his case and talking about multiple possessions versus few plays. Probably somewhere in the middle, but he's defending the tempo that he wants for his team.
I like the fact that he's not crying.
Right.
Personally.
Yeah. Right.
I even wondered not crying about it.
Yeah, he came across as I'm good.
If it takes away 2 possessions, does it help Tennessee? Tennessee usually explodes early and sometimes hangs on. Get rid of those other 2 possessions, you're not hanging on
That
anymore.
may be it. All right, next one. This one's for Chuck. Eli Drinkwitz, coach at Missouri, who I will be pulling for this year because of this comment. And this is why he's for a 9-game format. He said, I like the setup of 3 permanents. I think the more permanents that you have, the more that you can measure your program against consistent opponents. I also think it preserves the basis of the SEC. It's the best conference in college football because of its fans and the passion of its fan base. And I think you run the risk of losing that with the short-sightedness of, well, this schedule is not fair for me. Your reaction?
I want to applaud that. I mean, I think everybody should. I thought that was one of the great quotes, and I do love that stance you're taking. And I would pull for somebody like that.
From a guy that's getting, okay, now you're disagreeing with me, but you really, this is a guy that's, you would expect would be one of the guys saying it's too tough, like Kentucky or Tennessee.
No, and I came coming out and say the 3.
No, it's the anti-Saban.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, Saban had made that point for years until he saw the schedule, and then he fraud. Then he back out of it. All right, let's take a look. Next one. Bob, this is for you. This is Kentucky President Eli CAPILOUTO on the real issue behind the schedule debate. It is very fair to say that this is not just about the money. As we focus more on student-athlete well-being, one has to understand the implications of this in light of a new playoff format and length of the season. What does it all mean in a bigger context is what we should consider. What does it mean for bowl participation and length of season? I'm pretty sure you're not adding a game there, Eli. You're trading out an SEC
You're
game.
trading a bad opponent for a good opponent. That is just garbage. I mean, that means nothing. He could have got up there and said yada, 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 and it would have made as much sense as saying this has anything to do with student-athletes not playing another SEC game. That's just...
But player well-being.
Yeah.
Well-being. Now,
you know, if I remember correctly, Tennessee lost its best wide receiver last year against Akron.
from a game.
So, really, player well-being, you want to keep them totally safe? Well, we won't play any games.
Well, the other thing is that what about the length of the season? And you're worried about player well-being? Okay, very simple. There's an answer for that, and that is go back to the old 11-game schedule. Give up your extra home game. If you're really concerned about the well-being of the players,
it's not about the money.
Give up that. Yeah, well, exactly. If it's not about the money, give up that extra home game. Give it up. Just player well-being. Again, when it comes out of Kentucky, my first thought is horse crap, which is what that was.
I had seen that. Of all the statements, that's the one that made me the angriest because that's the worst.
All right. One-word response from you guys, each of you. Scott Dochterman of The Athletic tweeted this out. I thought it was interesting. This is the number of teams playing 10 or more Power 5 foes in 2023 by conference. In the ACC, 10 of their 15 schools are doing it, including their counting their partial member Notre Dame. 10 ACC schools will play 10 or more Power 5 foes this year. In the Big 10, 13 of their 14 schools. In the Big 12, 11 of their 14 schools. In the Pac-12, 10 of their 12 schools. In the SEC, 2 of the 14 schools.
Wow.
Chuck, one-word answer.
Not acceptable.
That's not a word. One-word answer.
Unacceptable.
Vince, one word.
Compensating for your lack of strength in your conference.
Unacceptable.
I'm going to respond to that one next. Just hold on to it. I'm going to throw that back in
we've
your
thrown
face.
the word crap around a lot. Let's stick with it.
Stick with crap. All right. Here, and for those of you, Blake Toppmeyer, this wasn't the point he was making, but Blake Toppmeyer at the News Sentinel this week put up a thing where he went back and looked at Missouri in their Big 12 days and Texas A&M in the Big 12 days and what they've done in the SEC. Missouri's win percentage in 16 years in the Big 12 was .488. Their win percentage in the SEC in 11 season is .456, so a little worse. Texas A&M's win percentage in the Big 12 for 16 years was .527. In the SEC over 11 years, .530. What? No! How did it go up in the big, bad, evil SEC? No! So, reputation. You've got a really strong top of this league, whether it's Alabama 1 year, Georgia 1 year, LSU 1 year.
Tennessee 1 year.
Tennessee 1 year. But Texas A&M walked right in.
Nah.
About the same.
Nope.
About the same. Missouri's not exactly a huge drop-off
Right.
either. They're both kind of ballpark.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
It's
Vince.
Don't get me wrong, it's still ridiculous that there's that much of a gap from those other conferences to the SEC. I'm saying one of the reasons they have to do it is to add to their strength of schedule versus what the SEC has already inside of theirs.
And I think that's what I'm saying is I think that's perception that the SEC is. I think they've got the talent in terms of the NFL draft choice. So does the ACC, but the talent. But in terms of win percentage, somebody came in and 2 teams came in here. One's a little worse, one's a little better. It didn't kill them. That's a big sample over a decade. So anyway, interesting stuff. Thank you all. Next segment, we're going to talk about Tennessee basketball. Huge news this week that Josiah Jordan-James is coming back, and it has made a huge jump in Tennessee's preseason rankings. We'll discuss all that next on the Sports Source. Come on back.